Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker, Chaz Price, and joining us for this segment here, Scott Kirschner. Scott, welcome in. And they saved this question. They wanted me to save this one just for you, by the way. We're going to start off a little late, but congratulations to the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're ever wondering how much the players get to keep from that extra paycheck, the website, thenextgenbusiness.com, well, they did the liberty of crunching the numbers here.
Super Bowl winnings $157,000. Federal income tax $58,090. FICA $12,011. Jock tax $3,925. Net income $82,975, resulting in a total effective tax rate of 47.15%.
It's pretty heavy, but they're going to keep about half of it. I guess that's something. You know, this is a windfall for them, obviously not expecting it regularly, but a windfall can happen in retirement as well, like when a loved one leaves you with an inheritance. I'm sure over the years, you guys have had clients who either received or left an inheritance. What are the tips on how to handle that?
Well, listen to those numbers. You know, I knew the odds were in favor in Vegas, but it sounds like the odds are absolutely in favor for the IRS.
Always.
And that particular windfall.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest takeaway, too, is, you know, when you're looking at an inheritance, I think, you know, one of the big windfalls is in place is windfall is for the IRS if you don't do things correctly. You really need to make sure that you have things kind of put in place to make sure that you use your money to be able to help your family and avoid some of these big disasters. You know, handling an inheritance, it can be really complex. It's an emotional process. I know, unfortunately, you know, just dealing with retired clients, it's something that we actually get the privilege to help that family through that process, meeting with the spouse or meeting with the kids and kind of walking them through, here's what we've done all the way through, you know, what we needed to do. You definitely got to take some time to grieve, but you also need to make sure that you understand some of the legal and tax implications. You got to evaluate your financial situation, set priorities, you know, develop a plan. Again, seek some professional advice and, you know, be mindful of how that emotional impact is going to be on you, and it might be different from everybody else. I know oftentimes when you meet with clients or when you meet with clients too, and you're dealing with an inheritance, you know, things can be different. We had, Scott, I know a case that we were recently talking about where it was a single older lady, and she was set to get some money that was coming in at a big lump sum. And, you know, what we had talked about in that situation was, you know, if she gets that money, she has a couple of different cool choices, you know, the opportunity to be debt-free.
Sure.
But also it presented, you know, the risk of, well, what happens because she's single and a nursing home's been down. So, you know, by taking and looking at things from the healthcare side or looking at things from the financial side and putting the plan in place, I think ultimately is how you get to the best conclusion on how to handle an inheritance.
Yeah, you know, that's absolutely right. And especially if you think about this, if you have a, you know, a loved one, a parent maybe that passes away, or a loved one that gives money, and you're 65 years old and you inherit a large amount of money, you have to be prepared for income, reportable income. Because the Medicare premiums are actually calculated based on income, and you may get a hefty surcharge. I guess it's a kind of a penalty, for lack of a better term, for income being over the certain threshold. You know, like right now in 2023, the family income is $197,000. So if you're over that, you're going to pay a higher cost for your Medicare Part B premium. Yeah. So, but there's nothing better than to help out a family during that time of loss, and to make sure that you get them taken care of with their investments and have them moving forward, knowing that you were there to help them.
Yeah, and one of the questions I get asked, or had the fortunate pleasure to be able to participate in planning for, is situations where maybe the parents are considering splitting their estate equally amongst all the kids, but
Sure.
maybe one or two are self-sustaining and doing well. Maybe the other one is not doing so well. So what I always encourage my clients to do is, if they love their children equally, to definitely treat them uniquely, meaning that means consider each one of their needs and their financial situation. So in this case, we're working with an elderly widower, had 3 daughters. 2 of them, again, were doing very well financially. The other was struggling. And so what I think they ultimately ended up doing was, you know, leaving the an equal amount of money, or I guess value, to each one of the children, but to the child that was struggling, offered them their car and provided them the home,
Sure,
rather than the actual financial asset. So I think it is important, to obviously treat kids equally, but that doesn't mean to give your assets away equally. Just means to consider their unique situation, and that's been my experience with estate planning.
As the child that my parents don't worry about, I don't necessarily always agree with that, but I understand that sentiment entirely. When we talk about getting to, through, and beyond retirement, this is exactly what we're speaking of, helping you, not just you, but your loved ones as well, whether it is you inheriting a windfall or, you passing it on to your loved ones. It's all part of that process. And so it's the comprehensive plan, right? That's what it's all about. And hopefully one less thing you need to concern yourself with, or your loved ones need to concern yourself with. So real easy to get started, start that planning process. Pick up the phone, give a call, 419-794-3030. That's the number, 419-794-3030, or you can go online, arhq.com. Don't forget, a lot of valuable educational events coming up throughout the region. You can go to arhq.com, click on the events tab, find one near you. And, we want to thank you, as we always do, for joining us this week here on the show. Please take care of one another out there. Be safe. Have a great week. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
I would say, yeah, there's a lot of great things coming up. We're on our Retirement Journey series. So within the Retirement Journey series, we're talking about the economic updates. We're giving you inside information regarding our outlook on the markets, the economy. If you haven't been out to one of our events, we have several Turning 65 events. So if you're wondering, how does Medicare apply to me and my situation, even if you plan on keep working past 65, get the information you need to know. We also have the retirement playbook events that are coming up. Those are going to be at Levis Commons, where we're doing the BGSU class. Going to be talking about things like the state of the economy, giving you updates on our market outlook, strategies to not only survive, but to thrive in this type of environment. We'll walk you through taxes, what maybe you need to do now before some of the tax laws change in the future. What are the strategies to try to keep the government away from your money? I know Scott's going to be there. He'll be talking briefly on the healthcare topics as well. So if you're going to retire before the age 65, what are the ins and outs that you need to know about healthcare and the Affordable Health Care Act? How do you structure and get your plan put together to try to minimize your overall healthcare costs? And, hey, I'll tell you, it's an income, not an asset-based test. So the decisions that you make now before you retire can have a dramatic impact, especially for those folks who retire before age 65. We'll talk about debt eliminations and so much more. We've got that information, again, where you can get that. It's on our website. It's americasretirementheadquarters.com, or just go to arhq.com. You can click on the events tab, see those upcoming events that you have. If you haven't punched and hit that subscribe and like button on our YouTube channel, I would encourage you to make sure you buzz over to YouTube. We have over 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Each and every week, if you like the topics that we're talking about, we break these down. If you want to know about how to invest in a bear market, what to do about higher inflation, we have all of these shows broke down for you so you can get directly to the information that you're looking for, get the answers that you need. Again, on YouTube or on any of the major podcasts that are out there, whether it's Spotify, the Apple Store, or Google Podcast, just type in America's Retirement Headquarters. We can get you that information. Other than that, any final thoughts that you guys have?
Well, you're right, Nolan. There's a lot of information out there on the website. Check out our events, and the events we do are always educational, and they work out very well for a lot of people, getting them in touch with a lot of things that they didn't know prior to coming to our events.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect opportunity also to kind of kick the tires.
Sure.
Earlier in the segment, we talked about when it's necessary to find a financial advisor, what are some of the topics and pitfalls you need to be watching out for. And I think this is a great venue. We're not selling you anything. Nothing's for sale there. It's just an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about us and how to take care of your family in these challenging financial times.